Everyone, welcome once again to the DT Sports Report. I'm Jon Arnold, here as always with Alex Ybarra on my left. First, we want to start off with something that we are always excited to talk about. Seems like it's been a long time. It's only been 2 months, but Tech football is back. Spring practice as usual. Alex, what's the biggest storyline coming out of spring practice?
Well, definitely, you have to look at the fact that Tech lost Graham Harrell and Michael Crabtree. Those two guys really put this program on the map in the past 2 years, and especially this past season, getting Tech up to that number 2 spot after a win over then number 1 Texas. So now you look at the fact that those two guys are gone. You have to replace them. You got a capable backup who's been around for 2 years on the bench behind Graham and Taylor Potts, guy with a rifle arm, a little bit of accuracy issues, but I think he can definitely step in and fill the role. Mike Leach has never had a problem filling in putting in a quarterback for someone who has just left the program. And then on top of that, Michael Crabtree, I think you have a capable core here at receiver that's going to come and fill his role by committee. And then on top of that, I think another thing a lot of people need to look at is this offensive line and how they lost Louis Vasquez, Stephen Hamby, and Rylan Reed. And with those 3 guys gone, you're going to see some new faces. You're going to see some shuffling there. For example, Brandon Carter, who played right guard last year, he was an All-American. He's moving to left tackle. He's about 20 pounds lighter. So I think he'll be doing a pretty good job there, protecting Taylor Potts' blind side. So that's a problem. And then on safety, you lost all 4 of your top players on the 2-deep roster. So you got to fill those guys in too. So I think those are the most pressing needs for the Texas Tech football team. But I definitely think that this team will do a good job of filling those because I think they do have the pieces, especially on the offensive line with Coach Matt Moore. That offensive line always comes in and reloads, and they do a good job of protecting quarterback in an offense that passes a lot.
Another change that isn't getting all that much talk, but is a significant change is Tech's got a new special teams coach coming from Louisiana Tech, and he worked them pretty hard yesterday in spring practice.
Yes, he did, and I think he's going to come in and do a good job. It was a different kind of intensity on special teams. It's something that I wasn't used to seeing. A lot of people weren't used to seeing. He was on those players really hard. He's running with them. He's yelling at them. I mean, the intensity is a lot different. You can tell that this is a guy who specializes, and I use that word for a purpose because this is special teams. And I think that he's going to do a pretty good job coming in there with Clay McGuire, who was a special teams coach last year, moving over to running backs coach, taking the spot of Seth Luttrell.
Another football story we talked about came out yesterday is the moving of the Tech-Baylor game to Dallas. This is something that Tech Athletics had tried to get done for a while. Talked about moving the A&M game to Dallas. Talked about moving the Oklahoma State game to Dallas. They finally get it done with this year's game against Baylor moving to Jerry World, as it's called, the new Dallas Cowboys Stadium, and the next year's being at the Cotton Bowl. Some of the local business owners not too happy about it. A couple fans even saying, now I'm going to have to travel. That's one less home game. And even from a football perspective, they are losing home field advantage for the game in 2010. What do you think about this, Alex?
Well, in a way, I think a lot of Tech fans and local businesses have a right to be mad with this game moving. They lose money. They have to travel, like you said. But at the same time, Gerald Myers' purpose for this move was to enhance the exposure of Texas Tech and going to a state-of-the-art facility like Jerry World, as it is right now, because I don't know anyone who, in this recession, will dole out money for, the naming rights to that thing. But other than that, I think it was a good move. Baylor is on the rise right now. But by the time 2010 rolls around, you're going to have to ask yourself the question, are we going to keep doing this, or, okay, that didn't work, let's go back to Lubbock?
And the players are excited about it. We talked to Brian Duncan and Taylor Potts and a couple other guys yesterday. They said, looking forward to playing in an NFL stadium, especially one that's going to be as state of the art as the new Cowboy Stadium is. But the fans have to travel. There are definitely a couple of issues with the move, but a lot of players excited about that, and a lot of media members are excited about it too.
Also, there's a hefty contingent of Texas Tech and Baylor fans in the Metroplex area. So
it'll be interesting to see what the turnout is, what the profits are, and I know that a lot of people are going to be holding Gerald Myers accountable for that profit margin. It'll be seen in 2009 and 2010, and maybe it'll be something where it's a tradition. Tech and Baylor always play in Dallas, or maybe it's something that won't work out. And I think if it doesn't, then Myers and the athletic department will probably go ahead and eliminate that. Moving on to another Central Texas kind of theme here. We got Tech baseball playing in Austin, a 3-game series against the Longhorns. Starting tonight, they played Monday against LCU, Lubbock Christian, ceremony honoring Larry Hayes, and I think that most people really enjoyed that. It was a nice ceremony, and the game was a lot of fun to watch. Then Wednesday night, they played Texas State and San Marcos. It was a rainy game. First start for Colton Farrar. Gave up 5 runs in the first inning. Coach Dan Spencer said it was still a good outing, but Tech did lose that game by quite a large margin. It's going to be interesting to see how they play against a team like UT, a storied traditional baseball program.
Absolutely. Tech lost 5 of 7 games, and going to Austin is no place to try and get out of a funk, especially with a team that's as good at pitching as the University of Texas. About a 1.94 ERA team average, so you know that they got some fireballers on the mound. But the other thing is their batting order has been struggling a little bit, below 300, like right around 270 team average. So Tech does have some wiggle room here to operate, but at the same time, you look at this UT team. Last week, they were ranked number 1 in the country, and then they dropped a series. They got swept by, I think it was Kansas.
Yes.
So now this team is dropped to number 8, but still, definitely a formidable foe. Tech has its work cut out for it.
And with a team ERA below 2, that'd be good in the majors. This is college baseball where teams put up tons of runs. Like you said, they did drop that series to Kansas, and they actually are sitting below Tech in the conference standings right now. But you'd have to say that UT's the favorite to win this series.
Absolutely.
Well, that about does it for us up here at the DT Sports Report. We do want to hear from you guys. Didn't hear from anybody over spring break, but everybody's probably kind of busy. If you have anything to say to us, anything at all, dtonlineeditor@gmail.com. We might read it on the air, might reply to you via email. We'd like to talk to you, see what you guys think. Real quick, we wouldn't be a sports show if we didn't talk about March Madness. Who you got, Alex? Who's your Final Four and your championship game?
Well, I have North Carolina and UConn in the finals, and then I have Missouri, UConn, North Carolina, and Pitt in the Final Four. You know, call me a loader on the top seeds, but frankly, this is a tournament that's been dominated by top seeds. So I got North Carolina and UConn in the finals. I'm going to take UConn because I think Hashim Thabit is a little bit too much inside, and A.J. Price has really found his shooting stroke.
I've got UConn in the final as well. I think that they'll have a good tournament run. They're an experienced team. They've got Thabit, like you said. We also have Pitt and OU on the other side of the bracket, in my opinion. I think it's a Pitt-UConn rematch in the final. I think Pitt does it a 4th time to take the national championship. But that's the fun of March Madness. Who knows what will happen? I'm sure we'll be talking about it later. Thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you guys again on the DC Sports Report.